We've got a very, very interesting panel discussion lined up for you now. We're going to ask, is the UK charging network as bad as the tabloids want you to believe? And we've got some people here who know about charging networks and are very well informed on the whole topic. I will introduce them one by one. Right next to me is Torrington Harper from GridServe. Next to Torrington, I know him, he doesn't deserve it. No, he does, he's wonderful. Next to Torrington is Alex Gilbert, Head of Energy and Electrification, Commercial Development. Next to Alex is Ian Johnson, Chief Executive of Osprey Charging. And next to Ian is Lavara Valentine, Sales Director, Commercial DC and Partnerships at Autel. I never know how to say Autel. Autel, there we go. Thank you very much. So let's start then with, I'll just I've got to go just down the line of what things you've read in the media in general, that outside the bubble of electric vehicle knowledge, that has annoyed you the most. what things have you, the most misrepresentation of what's going on? Because there's challenges, we're all aware of that, but what is the most kind of ridiculous things you've read? Maybe that's too difficult to answer. Go on, dive in.
So not what I thought you were going to ask today.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'll ask you.
I'm only joking, it's fine. What annoys me is that there are people working incredibly hard to make the charging network awesome. Us, GridServe, people on this panel and others, we are, I think pretty much completely transformed it in the last 12 to 24 months. I think it works very well most of the time now. There aren't enough chargers. We need to put a lot more in. We need to build a lot more hubs. We need to build them quicker. But I think the reason that people are rightly concerned at the moment is because there's so many people buying so many electric cars. We need more chargers. That's a very different scenario to a few years ago where the chargers turned up and they just didn't work. They were too difficult to use. So I think people need to kind of get over the. I actually think range. I think range anxiety doesn't exist.
No.
There's one with you. I don't think it exists because you can basically get anywhere that you need to, but it just might take you a while. I think what does exist is charging anxiety, and that means we need many, many more chargers. But yeah, if we can banish the phrase range anxiety from the vocabulary of the British media, that would be awesome.
I mean, some of you may know this, but and I don't know how mythological it is, but it's certainly been bandied about a lot. The actual term, the use of the two words range and anxiety, was coined by the General Motors PR department when they withdrew the EV1 in the 1990s and introduced the civilian Hummer. And they said, oh, electric vehicles will never work because people get range anxiety. Brilliant bit of marketing, and boy did it stick. So it is something, and it is utter nonsense. Everyone who drives an electric car the first time has range anxiety because they've been told they will.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more to that, and what would be awesome as well, instead of talking about all this anxiety and anxiousness, would be to turn it into something positive, how awesome electric cars are. Everyone who's turned up in an electric car today, I'm sure it's a freaking awesome vehicle. Everybody who's transitioned to them, do you hear people going back to petrol? No, exactly. So, if the media can kind of talk more about how awesome it is for getting electric vehicles, how brilliant they are, how much we're transforming, how quickly things are moving, and how great charging is becoming, wouldn't that be better? Because that'll get more people in, we'll address climate change quicker. Yeah. That's what we need to do.
So, Alex, I mean, I think in a sense you've got one of the biggest mountains to climb is how to make it possible the mass adoption of electric vehicles in a large city, which, let's face it, is sort of pre-Roman in some ways, where the streets are, how wide the streets are. It's not like an American city that's built on bridges with nice wide streets. You've got to adapt to so many different environments there and incredibly dense population. So quite a big challenge. So is there anything that you've read that annoys you? And then could you go on and explain what you're doing in London?
So fine, so another way we're getting a therapy session out. They want to talk about positively. Sadly, tabloids don't work in the way that Toddington would like them to. Of course, they just thrive on fear and all the panic and the nuance that goes with that. And they're very good at it. They're very, very good at it, and it's horrendous how they do it. But it works. And range anxiety, like carbon footprint, like so many terms we originally used in the pejorative, right? And they become now to mean something else. And actually, we should remember where these things come from. I mean, again, so we don't all just congratulate each other. There are obviously things that are pointed out that are obvious issues, and there is still charging anxiety and all of that. I suppose the thing that annoys me the most is that often when you trace back where these articles are coming from, it's not the tabloid, it's a PR firm.
Yeah.
Then you find out who's behind the PR firm, of course, and it's the minister's brother-in-law's PR firm. And no names mentioned, but we've had a few like that, and stuff like that just gets you. Like, the malice involved there. I mean, it deliberately spreading lies to make a point, and we're not even sure what the point is, because surely we're all on the same page that we want a better, cleaner, greener future for our children. So when people go against that, just give it for a little bit of profit. That's my therapy. I've got that.
So, Ian, yes, right.
So I think to add to what's been said, there have been programmes on BBC, ITV, Channel 5 about is now the time to switch, and what you hear in each one of them is, oh, but there's 65 different charging networks, and that's just completely misrepresenting the reality. So what we have now, you look at this year, over 2/3 of the new charging sites that have gone in come from the 5 reliable, repeatable nationwide networks. So I think there's been a massive change during the pandemic. And most of what's going in today is exactly what drivers want. These are large sites, multiple chargers, they're reliable, they're easy to pay. So to say there's 60 or 100 networks is just misrepresenting the great work that's happening from improving networks now.
Good point. And Lamara, I mean, what is your favourite? Give me your favourite gripe.
Yeah, so I think one of the most outrageous recent tabloid stories I've heard is that the government is colluding with energy firms to get the prices higher because we're all adopting EVs. That's why all the prices have gone up.
Right.
So that's one of the newest stories. It's obviously not true.
Yes. No, I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard that one at all. But then, so the general experience, I've just done a talk in the Gig Theatre about the Norwegian experience. A very interesting anecdote came out of that of a Norwegian who visited here, who said, oh, Britain has got it right, there's a much better charging network here, which was the last thing I expected to hear. I would assume that they're way ahead. They've had all sorts of issues with apps not working, with communications with the chargers not working, just the same. It is an emerging technology. I sort of assumed it was a few visits I've had to Norway, wow, they're way ahead of us, but they're struggling as well. But they are installing staggering amounts of charging, and they've only got renewable electricity, so they've got one or two big advantages, much more. But I mean, what do you see as really for you, like with the hubs that you're putting in, what is the biggest stumbling block? Is it grid connection, or is it the planning permission? Where's the grit in the system?
Yeah, so the thing that bothers me the most is kind of the bigger picture. I mean, we're getting the infrastructure in, we're getting it in as quickly as we can, and it's making a real difference. I mean, we charged successfully 85,000 cars last month, so that's working, and it's growing every single month. The thing that bothers me is that's no way near enough. So obviously the world was very distracted. We had been the last few months with all the horrendous things going on in the world, but on the 4th of April, the IPCC published a report that said that the world must peak our emissions, our emissions must stop going up and start coming down by 2025 at the latest, if we are to maintain 1.5 degrees of warming no greater than 1.5 degrees, after which time it will no longer be possible. So we've kind of reached that. When you put that into perspective, that is 32 months, that's less than 1,000 days. So that's what bothers me. We've got less than 1,000 days as humanity, as a species, to kind of put ourselves on a different trajectory. And we're not on it. I'm pretty confident that if everyone moved at the speed that we certainly are moving at, we probably could be. But we need to do a lot more, a lot quicker. And the thing about negativity is I just don't like is it stops people making that move, making that transition. Whereas we all need to be, we're all in this together. We have one planet Earth, it's beautiful today, but we've got to heed the warnings of what's coming. And we haven't got enough time. So we just need to kind of get on it, and that's really what bothers me.
So that's quite interesting. I think you're not that bothered about the nitty-gritty, can I get a grid connection, can I get phone, which is what you get the big picture.
It's not rocket science, you know.
No.
It's possible. You need to re-engineer the grid. The grid wasn't made for what it's doing today, so grid serve, we think about that quite a lot. We combine it with renewable energy. And batteries, something absolutely fascinating we discovered is that energy demand across the whole network more or less exactly matches energy production from solar in the UK.
Wow.
So if you build solar at the same time as charging, you take pressure off the grid, which is really, really interesting. And also it means you can make energy a lot cheaper than fossil fuels. You know, gas is energy in gas and oil, which is what's making energy expensive at the moment, contrary to what some people say. Is stored sunlight from hundreds of millions of years ago. And that is much more expensive than sunlight available today. And so yeah, it's entirely possible to achieve it. You've got to build renewable energy at the same time, in our opinion. You've got to balance the grid with batteries. You've got to put a lot of chargers in. But fortunately, because there's so much of an uptake in electric vehicle usage, you can put forward business cases like Norwich Electric Vehicle, which you launched last week, which you just wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't a situation where at some point we're counting on a mass market. So no, I think it's entirely possible. It's all eminently achievable. We just need to get our skates on.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to add to that, because I think it's one of the key things about EV charging is the visibility. So 1,000 days, I hadn't thought about it in that context, it's quite scary. And there we go, counting down, we should probably get out of here soon and get on with it. But I think, the title of the next talk, Nina just coming up next to talk about how we actually get people changing. And you've got all the politicians doing their thing and whatever, we can talk about that all day long, but I've worked across energy efficiency, I know all the work with renewable energy, but it's that visibility, that tangibility of EV charging. To most people, energy efficiency means nothing. Even renewables, most people don't grow up looking at a wind farm, solar farm, unless you are lucky enough to live there. So the EV charging might be the first thing. Actually, is near you. People can actually say, you live near Norwich, realistically, you're going to go and see this. What is this thing about? I don't understand it, I'm going to go. It's something you can see, and I think that will have a huge impact on young people. And it was said recently at a conference that, having a go at all the politicians, that Elon Musk has probably done more than any single politician in the world. And we can debate that all day long, we can go motive, but arguably, in terms of sheer visibility and insight, there's more of what he's done people can see every day than most of what politicians have done. I think that's really key what we're doing, we should lose sight of how we're doing it.
But I would love to know just a little bit on the how Transport for London are, because it's just, when I go to London, I've used on-street chargers, I've used the electricity lamppost chargers overnight twice now, and it is great that that's possible, but it does feel like it's slightly awkward. I was worried about people tripping on the cable, it was overnight, and it's fine, you can charge the car at full in the morning, all that stuff. But it's such a different challenge, and it is a thing that's brought up with me all the time, is I live in a little city in an apartment, how do I have an electric car?
It is, and I suppose to the topic of the conversation, it still isn't good enough. We know that there's a huge amount of work going on, and again, I'm keeping it very brief because then we go down the rabbit hole and just talk about London here, which is a bit too selfish, but there's an enormous amount of work working with these guys to try and actually get hubs delivered, which is absolutely essential. But we're going to need everything. It is a cliche today, but there's no silver bullet, although I'm on a tabloid that says that public transport is a silver bullet. But there isn't one. We're going to need all of the street furniture and the connected curbs and the Trojan energy. We need the lamppost. We obviously need to do a lot more residentially. Fast charging will have less of a play over time, and we need to up the rapid charging to get to the 4,000-ish that we need, and that means putting up. We're not going to get there doing individual work. So the last time I saw these guys down at your new pub in Croydon, so to try to make those things work to get to the scale we need, that really makes sense.
I think the good news is that, to Thomas's point, it's not rocket science, it can be done, and it's been done. So the hubs are going in now. In Cardiff, we've got 12 rapid chargers right in the city centre. We've dealt with cultural buildings, with trees, with highways. What it needed was direction from the top. I think the difference in 2022 to 2019 is that now everyone knows this has to happen. And the blockages that were there 3 years ago are being removed. The great work that OZEV have done to bring in the scheme to help local authorities deploy this stuff, because the structure needs to be right to happen, but the proven providers are there, the capital's there, the tech's there. So we don't need to create any new solutions, it's all there, it's just getting everything lined up to let it roll now.
And are you finding that as well? Is that something that you're a change? Because I've sort of sensed that change in attitude generally from the public and in fact from governmental bodies.
Yeah, and I feel that everybody also really needs to work together, the planning departments, the DNOs, the investors, the landowners. One of the big struggles that I'm finding is actually finding the land to actually put in the super mega hubs. That's what hotels will be looking to do when we bring out the new DC range in the summer, is to sponsor some kit, get some super hubs going, work with CECOs and providers, and really get it in the ground a lot quicker. So that's like our biggest mission for this year and next, is to really help get the infrastructure as quickly as possible.
Because it does seem, I mean, it's certainly one solution, and I don't want to talk about competitors who aren't here today, but I have used the Shell recharge hub in West London on Fulham Road, and it's right in a very dense urban area. And I have to say, while I was there, I just want you to do some of those. I don't want you all to do some of them, but well, you're arguing something. But I was really intrigued to see it. So while I was there, I was charging. Every charger was working. I didn't have to wait. There was a gap. I plugged in and charged, pretty easy to do. I had a coffee. While I was there, a man drove in a petrol Jaguar and asked in the shop where the nearest fuel garage was. And it was such a moment. It was a historic moment. He had range anxiety in a petrol car. And I felt very sorry for him. I did feel sorry for him, and I knew that it was just driven past. I said, honestly, it's just up there on the left. You won't miss it, you know. And he drove off.
We get that in the electric forecourts as well.
Yeah.
We get very confused petrol drivers.
Because they would imagine it's. I can imagine
anyway.
it's like petrol. Yeah. But that did seem to be. And I can imagine if I lived within a mile of that hub in London, I wouldn't worry about charging my car. I'd go there once a week and charge it, just it's easier. You know, it seemed to be a solution.
I think the visibility is important. I think the more you see these charges, you think, oh, so I could do it.
Yeah.
And that's even without the education that most people won't need it, because for most people here, they will charge their car as they charge their phone. You're going to wake up every day with a full tank, which is better than you ever have with petrol and diesel. So, but the visibility is important. If you drive into your local town centre car park and see a hub, you drive to your local supermarket and see a hub, when you're driving in the motorway services now and see Tollington's hubs, it just shows you, okay, despite what I read, I can see that for me it's there. And you convince people every time they see a new hub going in.
Yeah. I would like to open this, because I think there's a lot of you who will have lots of questions for our esteemed panel. So if anyone wants to ask a question, there is a microphone right at the front. Oh, we've got some enthusiasm already. I'd like to see that. Yes, madam.
I drive Zoe, and increasingly I can't get it charged because all your supposedly 22 kilowatts chargers on the motorway are dispensing 11 kilowatts. When we first got our Zoe in 2019, we did Scotland to Devon in 12 hours. We did it last Monday. It took 15 hours because of your 11 kilowatt chargers. Now, I think that you need to support those with older technology, especially now all the hybrid drivers are now queuing up to get electricity at the motorway services because diesel and petrol are so expensive, and they're getting the experience of having to wait. You put in 22 new chargers, I think, in Exeter, and I charged there at 11 kilowatts, and there were 7 cars queuing up that one actual 22 kilowatt charger. Why are you not taking into account those who were early and you're now making us second-class citizens?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. In no offence, and I think we've got a pretty good defence on this one, is that we specifically put in dedicated AC chargers specifically for Renault Zoe vehicles for the previous generation that didn't have DC. I had huge resistance when I was doing this because there is no business case for us to put these chargers in because virtually every car, apart from Renault Zoe generation, charges on DC. The issue that we've got, the reason that some of them, not all of them, only have 11 kilowatts rather than 22, is that we had to make a decision when we took over the electricity charging network, was that do we wait and optimise everything as much as possible before we we start putting charges in, or do we go as quick as possible and fix as much of the issues as we possibly can, and then optimise over time? We took the latter, so we changed every single motorway charging location over in less than 10 months, most of them in about 7 months. But the issue is that to do that, we couldn't put in new grid connections at the same time. So we had to use what we had, put in new chargers and try and share what was available amongst the chargers. And because there's much less usage for the AC chargers than the DC, then we haven't been able to give as much to some of the sites AC chargers as we would like to. We're working on optimising that, so there's dynamic shifting. It's actually quite tricky to dynamically shift between a DC charger and an AC charger. And we're also working on upgrading the network. Everything we've done so far is basically a sticking plaster in less than a year. So if you want to see what we're really focused on, it's about putting high power truck hubs like Exeter. We've got 4 of these now built. We've got 8 more in construction. We've got 15 more behind those. Building new electric forecourts. Again, you'll see all of our electric forecourts. We've got AC chargers, 22 kilowatts. And those are 22 kilowatts dedicated. We've got the grid connection. So we 100% are building a network for everyone. It's very, very important. I've been driving an electric car now for 8 years. It's really important. The mission we're trying to get to is that anybody in any car, anywhere, can drive without any anxiety and hopefully a better experience than petrol and diesel. It will take a while to achieve that. Hopefully you can see we're making some good progress and we are moving the needle quite a lot in other areas. But I get it. We'll certainly look more into it. But there will be a time where we plan to get those chargers up to full 22 kilowatts. But if we can't today, it's not because we don't want to, it's not because we don't care, it's because it's just a bit tricky.
But surely it's, from a business point of view, you are putting off an awful lot of people because they're queuing. They see cars queuing for those and they can't have to queue.
But not for the ACs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, queuing for the ACs. 7 cars at 10 o'clock at night queuing for the
Were they all Renault Zoes?
No. A lot of them were hybrids, but you're putting off the people who are transitioning from petrol cars to...
That's interesting. So if you've got any information, you have to pick it up separately. That there are sites where there are queues for ACs. We'd be happy to put some more AC chargers in those locations.
Definitely Stafford, South Bank and Exeter, we had to queue.
So, simply some info. That's all we can do.
I don't want to defend Toddington, but I don't think he's deliberately doing it. I just want to say that. Please say it. Next question.
Can I just ask this question about more rural locations? I live in Cumbria. Firstly, huge praise and thanks to Chris. The new location at Bursley in Kent is fantastic. I use it a lot. People in Cumbria are very grateful for that. But I think in this country, others might disagree with me, but I think on the motorways it's generally pretty good. I mean, when I'm going north, Bursley in Kent is great. When I'm going south, MFG Place at Wigan is really, really good. I don't really have problems on the motorways, but in Cumbria, once you get 3 miles from the M6, there's basically nothing. And this is in no way racist. This is, in my industry, what we call it heating up and so I just wondered if you could maybe say something hopeful about rapid charges in rural locations. I think it was Ian that said that actually the focus is on hubs rather than single ones. Someone said that about 2 minutes ago. And I guess that, places like